Welcome back to the show. We are
Welcome
still
back to the show.
on Footprint, and I still have with me in my studio my gentleman friend.
Ahmed.
Thank you, mate. And
Thank you.
now we'll be looking into some other issues that also affect us as people and as a nation. First of all, we'll look into the area of education.
Okay.
You and I know how it used to be way back in Nigeria. Like I remember those there are professors in school would tell us that when they were in school, that they wash their clothes, they serve them meals and all the rest, and as you're finishing school, a car is waiting for you, job is waiting for you.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, this lecturer is telling us to people that are not making life comfortable or conducive for us to learn. Okay? And but by the statistic, it shows that like over 100,000 students take JAMB for admission every year. But the universities, the whole universities in Nigeria cannot take 20% of those people or thereabout. So it becomes a case of at every point in time, year after year, you see people are willing and desire to get education, and they will not be able to do that, owing to the fact that the capacity to absorb is very low. And recently, the federal government, from the report Okonji-Iweala gave to his response to the question from the Finance Committee of the House of Representatives, she said that federal government has built additional 12 federal universities to augment the one that actually exists in. Mentioned that the universities are in states like Bayelsa, Katsina, Jigawa, Taraba, Kogi, Nasarawa, Ekiti, Ebonyi, Gombe, Kogi, Yobe, and Zamfara states. And I want us to just talk on that a bit. What you think that education system in Nigeria is really all about?
Thank you very much. Very interesting topic. Education. Education happens to be one of the cornerstones for any society, both developed, developing. Education should be held in very high priority. Education in Nigeria, just like everything else, from my perspective, is a fraud. And I don't use the word fraud lightly. It's a fraud in the sense that you just stated that JAMB, which happens to be the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, would sell forms to over 100,000 students every year, aspiring to gain admission into various higher institutions in Nigeria. Knowing fully well, knowing fully well, JAMB's administrators, including the entire education system in Nigeria, the commission, they all work together, knowing fully well that they only have the capacity to assimilate only 20% of those forms sold. Now, that's a fraud perpetrated right there on the citizens of Nigeria. Okay? So, definitely, right from the onset, it's a fraudulent situation. Nigeria, just like any other nation that's progressive, that has the resources, could afford to build the institutions and put other mechanisms in place to assimilate the number, if not
people that are willing
if not 100%, but at least a decent percentage. I can work with 50%. I can work with 60% of the students that seek admission, getting admission. It's a calamity when only 15 to 20% of the students seeking admission can get admission. That's a serious fraud. It's a serious calamity. And you know what? The downside really is the fact that what impact does that have on the future of education in Nigeria? And on the future of the youth, those individuals that are seeking higher education.
Some people get tired after the whole thing and
definitely,
they just abandon
definitely,
education.
It's human nature. You know, the situation becomes hopeless. Like some of us had to write that exam 3-4 times before gaining admission. And even at that, you know, you will start discovering that the previous times you wrote the exam that you were not admitted was not based on your score. It was based on the fact that the quota was just not favorable to you at that time.
Yeah. That was my own similar case.
Okay.
The score I used to enter, I've scored a higher score previous years that I couldn't get
that
admission.
you couldn't
but
get admission, and
the
then
year-
you
the
came
year
with a
after,
lesser
I
score,
came
and
with a
then you
lesser
get,
score.
and then, but thank God you got admission. Now, you know, we worry for all
Not
those.
after without working through one or two means.
Exactly. So, you know, it's a fraud. And like you said, it's not by accident. This is not, all the problems in Nigeria, sadly, are problems upon
It's not, and it's
Nigerians
not as if these things are difficult to
that,
fix.
that are, exactly, these are not problems that are insurmountable. These are problems that are actually engineered due to the gross corruption and injustice that is espoused in the Nigerian society. And the corruption and injustice, I will still always repeat, are perpetrated by leadership. Everything for me hinges on leadership.
It rise and falls on leadership.
It's still leadership. It's always leadership. It's nothing like not too long ago we had a president in Nigeria, a head of state actually. His name was Sonny Abacha. And then he came up with some programs like War Against Indiscipline and all that. You know, you have to spank people in the street for throwing trash. You have to, you know, manhandle people. He used the military, used all the law enforcement operators. Idiagbon, one of them. You look back at a situation like that. The point here is, if look, in every society, waste bins are provided. There's a guideline. Social services are provided for people to use. Yes, if you go to any other society like Republic of Benin, my mom used to travel to Cotonou for business. She claims every time that yes, they arrest people in Republic of Benin for trashing, for littering. But the reason is because there are litter bins scattered all over the place.
Okay.
You wouldn't have
As
to
an
walk.
alternative.
Exactly. You wouldn't have to walk 200 feet before you get to one.
You don't see any on our road.
In Nigeria, you don't see any.
I don't.
And yet, so what am I supposed to do?
Carry it on your head.
When
and
I
go
eat
home.
the corn, I'm supposed to put the cob in my pocket, or when I eat the. You see, and this is where leadership has continually and continues to mistreat us and abuse us as Nigerians. Most of the leadership in Nigeria travels. They love to travel. That's one of their hobbies, you know. And the fact is, when they travel for the comfort, they travel for the pleasure and all the other good things. When they come here, they even love to drive. They never drive when they're in Nigeria. But I know a bunch of them. When they come here, they love to actually get behind the wheels and drive. And that's due to the fact that social services have been provided in this society as well as other societies that they love to travel to, even as close as going to the Middle East. You talk about Dubai, you talk about the UAE, you know. And but back home in Nigeria, they seem to enjoy the fact that they are privileged and live the good life, and they enjoy to actually see the masses live in squalor. Okay? These people drive on Nigerian roads. They go through the airports. They go through the seaports. They're not oblivious to what's going on in Nigeria. Everybody that's charged with administering education to Nigerians in Nigeria, okay, their children, their family, their friends are secure as far as education is concerned.
Let me comment. Don't you think like Nigeria can do like other countries? If you are in government,
absolutely,
it becomes mandatory for your children
absolutely
to be in
absolutely.
School in Nigeria.
Exactly.
It becomes against the law for you to seek medical treatment outside Nigeria. I think absolutely. In that light, things will begin to take shape.
Absolutely. If that becomes law in Nigeria, the last time I looked, that's not law in Nigeria.
It's not.
As we speak.
Even as a president,
okay.
It's not.
It's not. But you know what? That will still go back to leadership. When we start getting leadership, and you know what? Policies like those, like what you've just stated, would arise from having men and women in positions of leadership that feel accountable, that want to be accountable, that want to be responsible. Because we lead by example. Okay? How can I be the Minister for Education in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or even a State Commissioner for Education, or even a principal for a high school? My children will definitely have to go to school. if not in the school that I'm principal, but in that locality.
It's not always the case now. Most times
Okay,
now, their children are either
their
in
children goes
private
to,
schools or they are in
exactly.
schooling
They, in other
in the
words,
neighboring
so
countries
so which means those schools are not good enough for their
for their children.
children,
Yes.
but they're willing to administer that school to your kid and my kid and the kid of other Nigerians. So right there, you know that's borderline criminal.
Thank you very much. And like you rightly pointed out, it is a share robbery on the part of the poor Nigerians, and that also brings us to the same issue like we're talking about holding leaders accountable. I remember I can still tell you vividly myself because I have a cousin of mine that was just a commissioner.
Okay.
So not a commissioner, councillor
Okay.
in a local in a local government.
Okay.
Then after the present administration came in, they had issues, so all of them were sacked. And currently, the local government is run by appointed administrators, of which those people are not really elected. So they don't have.
So in other words, they don't have a mandate.
They don't have a mandate, so they are like a puppet in the hand of the governor.
Exactly.
And presently, and you and I know that the local government is where you meet the grassroots. That is where the impact of the government is.
Exactly.
In cases like that, and also realize that not only in Imo State, like I said, there are other states that have not. Even when the governor has been in the position in office for like two years going, he hasn't done local government elections. And some that actually did that just handpick the people they want, and at the same time, the allocation that goes to the federal government does it get to this that comes from the federal government to the local? Does it get to them? Are they actually using it? Are we actually feeling the impact of government in the grassroots because of this?
Local government issues in Nigeria. Okay, local government issues in Nigeria. Would the chairman for a local government is an elective office.
Yeah,
I would
sure.
think, and that would still have to go under the Nigerian electoral body.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's currently called. The fact that we have a local government that does not have an elected official
Chairman.
to administer the services for that local government is complacency on the part of the Electoral Commission in Nigeria. I am not clear on this, but I don't think the governor of a state necessarily has the authority or the power to decide how, when, or who is a chairman for a local government. And if we have a situation where there's a local government, a locality where there's a chairman missing, in other words, it's like having a ship without a captain. That ship is not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere.
There's no progress here, no direction. So obviously, the people in that local government are the ones that are bearing all the suffer. They will suffer socially, economically. They will suffer in every aspect of the world. Absolutely.
Hello, thanks for calling. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is George. I'm calling from Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania.
Welcome to the show.
Sorry, I'm calling from Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania.
Okay, welcome.
George.
Yeah. Okay, George, you're welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. I can see the discussion is on the educational system in Nigeria.
Yes, we're actually discussing the educational system in Nigeria. How the leaders going to make it better than what we're having at the present? What's your view about that?
The truth about it is that I think Nigeria has got all it takes to actually make the educational system good. Because if actually they can use money the nation has and then put it into the educational system, provide the necessary facilities needed. Most people, I'm very, very, very sure, most people who leave the country, you understand, to go to other countries to study will not do that. And then if you look at something again that happens in Nigeria, for example, certificate-wise. You understand? Most people are looking at, okay, wait, you have the certificate. No one really wants to know
How?
whether you actually are you good? What's the level of how are you really good in that aspect of study which you say you have the certificate? You understand? But then now this makes every other person, in Nigeria try as much as possible to just go and get a certificate anyhow. And then most people again come out, come abroad to study because they feel, yeah, when you come back to Nigeria and present the certificate, you understand, yeah, I studied maybe in the United States of America, I studied maybe in London. Definitely they will give you a job in Nigeria, not even minding how you did it, but because of the name. So since they know these people are good, they can as well as, put in those, paraphernalias, which makes people, you understand, go outside. If it's the facilities, like, very good professors, those other facilities that could make people stop going out. I think they can do it because Nigeria has got all it takes. We've got human resource, we've got the material resource, we've got everything to make it possible in Nigeria, at least to put in the best, and then we have the best.
Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution.
Thank you very much
Mr.
for
George.
that contribution.
We really appreciate that, and we
Yeah,
know that
yes.
our government and our leaders are actually listening and hearing that even our concerned brothers and sisters all across United States here are calling in and also giving the same complaint. So thank you so very much. We really
Thank you
appreciate
very much. We appreciate your contribution.
Very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm great.
And
Have a nice
stay
day. Bye-bye.
tuned, okay?
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You want to react to that?
Yes, just like the recent caller, had just stated. Yes, he stated Nigeria has the capability.
All it takes.
All it takes. Okay? And that's the sad part. That's really the tragedy with Nigeria. It has all it takes, resources-wise, with the exception of leadership. Okay?
We have gone all through various kind of educational systems, 6334, this and that. And this and
Yes, the educational systems are not really the issue. I think when they come up with policies to change the educational system, do 333, 555, whatever they do, I strongly believe those are the distraction tactics. This is how they throw Nigerians in disarray. Okay? Yes. 366, whatever they call it, is not the problem. When I went to school in Nigeria, you do 6 years elementary, you do 5 years high school, you go to college or technical school, you do 2 years, 4 years, whatever, okay? And it's changed. They went to something and they're now doing something.
Coming back on the same stuff.
Bottom line is it's still the people that are charged with administering education in Nigeria, the men and women that are actually charged with administering education in Nigeria are defrauding Nigerians.
Like you said from the onset, that you start from the beginning, that is fraudulent.
It's fraudulent. Everything in Nigeria, the sad part with the administration in Nigeria, right from the highest office to the lowest office, is all about defrauding the Nigerian citizens. And until we get to where we start electing men and women to offices to administer our businesses, if you talk about security, talk about education, talk about infrastructure, talk about justice, talk about every single service that Nigerians need to live a conducive life within Nigeria, until we start electing men and women that are accountable, capable, and well-versed as far as knowledge is concerned in their respective fields, then these issues will persist.
Like actually said, that boils down to reason why even most of this money they invest, where are they taking it to? They take it abroad. I will give you a little instance. Last October I was in Dubai. Really, I got down from the airport, took my luggage. As I was stepping out, a young girl just stopped me. Said, hello, we just greeted. He said, you're Nigerian? I said, yes. He said, we would like to have a chat with you. I said, over what? She gave me a card That's over some investment. She gave me a card, said they will call me up. We didn't say how long am I staying. I just told her I was staying a few days. Okay, will call me up tomorrow. To know my schedule and book me for the meeting. I said okay, fine and good. And the next day they called me. I wasn't available because I had a tour.
Okay.
I had to go around some of the Abu Dhabi to go see some places. Then the next day we had an appointment. They came with a Porsche car. They took me all around. They even said, oh, their helicopter is not around. They would have taken me to helicopter around and to show me around Dubai. Told me wonderful things that this country is not up to 10 years and everything. Like you're a Nigerian. I say, yes. He said, if you're a Nigerian, he said, I don't underestimate. That's what I
Can you
say.
imagine?
If you're a Nigerian, he said, I don't underestimate you.
Just came out right and told you.
Yeah, he said, if you're a Nigerian, I don't underestimate you. That our biggest investor, I won't mention the name of their company,
Yes.
say our biggest investors in this company say they are Nigerians.
Can you imagine?
They're showing me.
But yet they wouldn't invest back home.
Who invest back home? If it's certain, if you're taking this in and putting it back in a country,
then it will. You recycle, okay? We know. You can make. You can do stuff from trash.
I have a friend that's from a country I won't mention. He told me once, and he said the problem with you Nigerians, that people will allow somebody steal your money and take it. He said my country they steal. He said but they steal, but the money stays
there
in our
with
country.
the people.
So to bring this to round up on that story, he said they took me around. They said okay, he's going to buy a hotel. It's in a hotel apartment. You can stay there 2 times in a year. It's a profit sharing thing. At the end of the year, you'll be getting this. By 5 years' time, you will recoup this. She pressed me that I could just sign that paper, even if to drop $1,000. And thereabout, I insisted that this is not a decision I can just take alone. I can't just come here and cut $500,000. All that like this, I just have to think about it because that's what even if I have the money, that he said she knows I have the money. I'm a Nigerian.
Can you imagine? That's the image.
And at the end of it, what I got to know that this is what our leaders are doing.
This is what's going on with our money.
They have kept us in perpetual poverty.
Yes, this is what's going on with our money. And this is not just happening now. Okay? What you've just stated is not just happening now. This has been happening back from the Awolowo days. Okay? These men, such as Awolowo, owned property in England, in Europe back then.
Back then.
Yes, at the expense of Nigerians. So, remember what we said at the beginning. There's not too much here, really, as far as Nigeria is concerned. The key problem with Nigeria is not external. It's not lack of resources. It's not lack of funds. It's not lack of, like some nations, yes, economy is not good for various reasons. Maybe they don't have the natural resources or whatever. Nigeria happens to be one of the wealthiest nations on the face of the globe. When I say wealthiest, I mean resources, natural resources wise. Yeah. It's an oil-producing nation for crying out loud.
Oil. When I was doing a course in one of the course in development, Nigerian people and economy. Yes. Nigerian people and economy. We did some survey of the minerals that Nigeria has. I said some countries in Africa are living on only in one, but Nigeria has up to more than 30 of those minerals. Various minerals
that haven't even been
coal. Even America here is still generating power with coal.
Exactly.
Coal.
And then we lack energy. And then when you lack energy in a society, there can't be development, there can't be industry, there can't be development of any type, of any shape, because it takes energy to run an industry. Okay? Even the well-meaning locals in Nigeria are handicapped for lack of energy.
And the unfortunate aspect of it all is that we can do
all manners of energy generation. And we have all this.
We can do hydro. We
have various alternatives that could be tapped. We have various things that the resources that.
Let's hope that the privatization of NEPA will yield a positive impact.
When they use words like those, that's the problem I have with government in Nigeria. They will come up with a new term, a new terminology, to keep doing what they keep doing. Now they're going to privatize it. Yes, they will say something like, okay, you know what? We're not going to give it to a Nigerian investor. It will be somebody from foreign.
No, this one they did locals. It's locals, but it's local Nigerians.
Local Nigerians putting money, investing their money into developing
Power generation and distribution.
infrastructure, yeah, the power generation and distribution in Nigeria. Fine. But when they say it's private, does that really mean it's private?
You know,
Okay, so you get me.
that
You know,
I
hope
got
for
your
the
point,
best,
but the fact
you
that
know.
even if let them put that money instead of taking it out, taking it to Dubai and all the rest, let them bring it, put it back in the country.
Yes, and true. You know, foreign investors coming into Nigeria, you know why they do well? Because they have that extra protection. Okay, they have that extra protection under international law, under various other bodies. For the Nigerian individual, okay, I don't know who these people are. It's a very good move. I would love to invest in development in my country if I had the resources.
Yeah,
or the means.
basically the security challenges will
But
have
exactly. I'm a Nigerian. I'm there in Nigeria. I'm easily going to be circumvented. I'm easily going to be violated. You know, is my life safe? Am I secure? Is my property secure? You have to remember I'm a Nigerian, so I'm susceptible to the laws of Nigeria. I'm binded by the laws of Nigeria. It's different from if I'm a foreigner coming into Nigeria as an immigrant, work and live in Nigeria. Yes, I'm binded by those laws, but usually those laws, there's always like a gray area, you know, the living room for the fact that, okay, it's an entity from a foreign country.
The gray area stuff you mentioned about, I have a friend that was sharing a bit of experience way back around 2010, that he came from Germany to establish a food processing industry somewhere around Lagos, and he has built the factory, brought in the machine. Then there start coming Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, Standard Organization of Nigeria, NAFDAC, Monile, this one.
Exactly.
He said
the Nigerian factor.
He said at the end of it all, he ended up selling those machines, converting that building to a hotel,
and getting out of the food processing business.
I went back to Germany and turned it into a hotel because it was becoming something else. It was, as soon as you finish with this one, it's like you tell another person, come, go
Absolutely.
back.
Because it's a society that's based on, that's how Nigeria functions. That's the heartbeat of Nigeria. When you mention Nigeria, the first thing for me as a Nigerian, sadly, when you mention Nigeria, the first thing for me as a Nigerian, the first thing that comes in my head, goes off like a light, is corruption, insecurity. All those attributes that are troubling, okay? To invest in Nigeria sounds great, but do you know what it really takes to do business in Nigeria? It's a very tough neighborhood.
You provide your power, you run...
Which is extremely expensive.
You generate power, get your water, pay
all
for your
those,
security,
all those
do your road.
All those are heavy lifts, okay? Yeah, you want to build this factory somewhere, in some remote somewhere. You gotta have road. You gotta have roads. You're gonna build your roads. You're gonna provide your own water. You're gonna provide your own electricity. I don't know how too many people that are resourceful.
They are consistent. Like you actually said, the issue of the way our business policies, that most of those policies are like they choke people up, and the issue of, like you also pointed out, I wanted to go there before you pointed, the issue of security of life and property. These are the things that distract foreign investors.
Absolutely.
To a major issue of this Boko Haram in the
US,
north, kidnap in the south, and militancy in the Niger Delta and all the rest. A friend of mine here went home just to see the aged parents. The parents relocated from UK back to Nigeria. He had been here for like 10 years, hasn't gone home. He grew up in UK. He said he wanted to go and see his parents. He got home. From the first day he went, everybody was asking, when are you leaving? When are you leaving? Are you still here? Please go back. Go back.
They're concerned for his safety.
He said the crazy thing that happened, he went to a bank to open an account. They're asking him his house address, of which normally nobody should ask him here in the US. They ask him your house address, this and that and everything. He said late in the night, when he was sleeping, somebody was knocking at the door at the 12. He said, yeah, I'm finished. They've come for me because I gave them my address. I gave them my house address. It was meant to spend like 2 weeks or there, but no, 3 weeks. But he spent like just a few days with the parents, and They just tell him,
You
just
just have
please
to
go
leave, you know,
for own safety.
because and isn't that sad, really, that we travel all over the world, we go to foreign countries, and you feel secure, and then you go to your own nation, and you have this strong sense of insecurity. Okay, but all that still goes back to the fact that we're talking about a country that seriously lacks leadership.
it's like even the stakeholders, like the issue of the Boko Haram and bombing in the north, it became to like, I was reading on a report of the Northern Elders Forum saying that they're going to take the immediate past chief of army staff, Ihe Jurika, they're going to take him to International Criminal Court of Justice for
Okay.
killing of people in Borno State, civilians during the raid against Boko Haram
So
people.
now they're making the Boko Haram terrorism thing in Nigeria is now becoming a tribalistic. They're
That's the
trying to
issue.
make it into a
Yeah,
tribalistic
that's a
regional
national issue.
issue.
I see that it's
This
it's
is
a national issue.
issue. It's a security. It's a serious security
threat.
issue. Yes, you have a group that's saying that they want to impose their own laws to govern people that are already governed by a constitution in a nation. This is laughable. Okay, yes, they will try, but Nigerian government has every right and should protect every Nigerian citizen from such an organization. So if it's called collateral damage, yes, I can understand. Yes, some innocent bystanders might die in the course of the conflicts between the law enforcement and the terrorist groups. But the fact of the matter is, even in northern Nigeria, I'm not going to hold just regional leaders accountable, okay? Because the fact of the matter is, it's bigger than that.
Yeah, it's much more than that.
It's much more bigger than regional leaders. This forum here, this conversation really for me is centered around the central government in Nigeria, which is the federal government of Nigeria, trickle down to the state government. Okay, local government administrators are not really big on my radar, because unto whom much is given, much is expected. So Nigeria happens to be a nation governed by a constitution. The best thing for Nigerians will be a situation where we start honoring our constitution.
That's actually a pathway to getting better.
Absolutely. It's the only pathway. If you look at, if you bring me a copy of the Nigerian constitution right now and read through it, it's as civilized as it gets. I mean, you can almost parallel it with the U.S. Constitution, of course, you know, except for dates.
And the enforcement is the issue.
Now, exactly. The issue of enforcement and obeying. Enforcement starts from the number one person in Nigeria. Obeying that constitution. Doing things in line with what that constitution dictates for every Nigerian.
And then hold the next person behind you accountable.
Absolutely. Then when the number one honcho in Nigeria is responsible and accountable, there's no way the next guy, the number two honcho, won't be accountable and responsible. Things just have it's a natural order of things. Things will just start falling in place naturally.
I believe that we have actually spoken at length on this issue and many more. So before we wrap up, I just want you to say one last thing about the whole thing we've just discussed about. What do you have? What advice, what suggestion do you have that will make our leaders try to leave a positive print for the people and for generations?
And for generations to come, yes. The Nigerian issue in this day and age is not new. It's gotten magnified due to the fact that we now live it's now a global village. Nothing is no longer hidden. Even documents that our so-called leaders in Nigeria, documents that used to be out of the reach of the commoners in Nigeria, are now accessible. Thank God great thing called the internet. And I firmly believe that from the biggest problem problem facing Nigerians to the least on their, what they would call the least of their problems, could be solved if we start having men and women in offices that are supposed to cater for Nigerians. If we start having men and women that are truly, first of all, Nigerian, a very strong sense of patriotism, followed by a very strong sense of responsibility, and a very strong sense of accountability, then people's work can start getting done. As is today, it's not Nigerians' work getting done. It's those individuals' work getting done. Those individuals get there, they do what they want to do, whatever, by any means, to secure themselves, their offsprings, and supposedly their future, and the future of their offsprings, at the expense of their fellow Nigerians. I've always believed that the buck starts at the head. If you look in this country or any other progressive society, leadership is always quick to take responsibility when things don't go right. Yes, it's not a comfortable stance to take, but it's a honorable stance to take. It's a responsible stance to take. And we're all human. Nobody is perfect, including myself. If I have a job to do, I will try my best to do it the best of my ability. I'm a professional in this country. And the people I work for, I go above and beyond to make sure that I do my best to the best of my ability with the tools I have at my disposal. Nigerian leadership has this strong sense that they are oblivious to, excuse me. Nigerian leadership, in a strong sense, has this sense of they are above the law. They have this sense of, yes, these rules and regulations are for you guys, not for me. Have you noticed in Nigeria how, Nigerians are quick to tell you, do you know who I am? They would say things like, do you know who I am? Yeah, it's beyond ego. It's ignorance. Because the bottom line is, nobody cares who you really are. If you think you are all that, okay, there's something called grace. All right? Normally, the most powerful in society are supposed to be the meekest. Okay? They say the empty barrel makes the most noise. And whenever I'm in Nigeria, I'm amused and amazed at the fact that Nigerians, the privileged ones, are quick to say, do you know who I am? And then the next thing is they want to prove to you, if you say you don't know, then they want to prove to you who they are. I've witnessed things in Nigeria that are borderline barbaric, that are even beyond barbaric. I've witnessed situations in Nigeria where military personnel, a military man wearing the uniform that the taxpayers bought for him, would harass a civilian where, where the police officer will just, because he doesn't like the fact that, you cut in front of him in traffic, can come down from the car and start whipping a fellow Nigerian citizen. And I don't blame the police officer. I don't blame the guy in the army uniform. I blame the police IG, and I blame the chief of army staff. And then it even goes beyond blaming those. I blame the president for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because if they had upheld the Constitution and followed the law, that would not happen in the first place to start with. But because they are quick to violate the laws of the land, then it triggers down like that, So the issue with Nigeria really is yeah, we end up with corruption, injustice, lack of security, and all the other things we lack because we are lacking in leadership. That's just the bottom line.
Thank you very much.
I thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much, Mr. Benny.
It's my
We
pleasure.
enjoyed having you on the show today,
It's my pleasure.
and we've been able to unravel some of the things that are
Some of the things.
bothering our nations and our people, and it was
Absolutely.
wonderful. Thank you for sharing it with you us.
I
You've
thank
got
you
of
very much.
experience and all the rest. We hope to have you
I thank you very much.
here back subsequently
Absolutely.
on other issues that concern
That concerns
welfare
Nigeria and its citizens.
and
I thank you very
thank you
much.
so
It's
very
my
much.
pleasure.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And it will come your way next time. Keep watching and keep doing all you can do to support our nation and keep voicing out.
Yes, keep
Keep
speaking.
voicing out.
Got to keep speaking.
Keep speaking. Keep speaking.
We will not keep quiet.
Never.
We will keep speaking. We should keep speaking. If you love Nigeria and concerned
Speak out.
for Nigeria, you have to speak out.
Speak out.
Yeah, maybe not for ourselves, but for the future generation. You know, and there is hope. There is hope from the point that Nigeria, we are enormously blessed. I'm talking resources, human resources, natural resources. I mean, even our geographic location is a blessing. We have everything abundantly. We just need to make the best use of what we have to get the best things out of life. And Nigerians truly are deserving people, and
Enduring.
and enduring people as well.
And the
So,
most and the happiest people on earth.
oh
Sophia
yes,
smiled
that's
like
yes,
Malachi.
oh yeah,
Sophia smiled.
yes. May
Crying
his
in
soul
this
rest in
moment,
peace. Yeah,
because the next moment
suffering and
we're
smiling.
happy
Yes, yes. Very resilient people too, but at the same time, that should not be taken for weakness, because the most troubling thing with Nigeria is I would hate to see a situation in Nigeria where it goes to flames. When Nigerians, when we get upset, we have a tendency to overreact.
So we pray it doesn't get
And we just pray and hope that it does not get to that for the sake of humanity and for the sake of the nation. So I thank you very much, Chidi.
Thank you very much.
I had a wonderful time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and viewers, it's wonderful you staying tuned and watching all our presentations today. Thank you. We'll come your way next time. Keep, like we just said, keep watching it and keep doing all you can do. We want to hold our leaders accountable. That the essence of life that we live a positive footprint on the sands of time. Thank you very much.